Hi everyone, I'm Mayuresh Joshi and I welcome you to the next lesson in Power Apps course. In previous video, we have learnt about variables in Power Apps. We have also seen how we can save the string or integer values in those variables and how we can use those variables in different screens in Power Apps. We have seen different types of variables like context variable and global variables. And in this lesson, we are going to learn about collections. So let's click on collection in Power Apps. Similar to variables, collection is also a very important concept in Power Apps. Collection is a group of items, or we can say a group of information. Let me give you one example in Excel sheet. So here I have three different tables. In the first table, I have stored three values 1, 2, 3. So we can say this is a collection of numbers. Okay, in the second table, I have saved three names. So we can say this is a collection of names. And in the third table, I have saved two different properties. One is ID and one is country. So this is one record, this is another record, and this is third record. So a group of records is called as collection. So in the first example, the record was 1, 2, 3. In the second collection, the record was Mayuresh, James, and Joseph. In the third example, it is a record of two properties. One is ID and country. So in short, collection is a group of data or group of items which is of similar type. Okay, so here I have given example. It can store a group of numbers, it can store a group of strings, or it can even save a group of objects. So if you are aware about array or object concept in your academic or in your previous experience, so array generally stores a similar data, okay, and objects stores different properties. So here we can see that this is an array and each array has and this array has three different objects. The first object is ID1 value India. The second record or the second object is ID2 value US. So a group of objects is an array and this array we can say it as a collection. So in Power Apps language, the array of objects is called as table of records. Each object or each this object is a record and a group of object is array which is nothing but a collection. Okay, and these collections get saved locally inside the Power Apps application. We'll talk about this line in some time. So collections are used when you want to store some information temporarily, okay, when in your application. That means um, while you are running the application, at the runtime event you might need to initialize some collections which are needed to perform some operations. So in these cases we will use the collections, and whenever you refresh your app those collection will get erased and you will need to initiate them again. Okay, so let's see practically in Power Apps how we can initialize and how we can use this in Power Apps application. So there are two ways to initialize the collection. One is collect, one is clear collect. So let's first see about the clear collect function. Clear collect function. So let me add one button, and now on click of this button, I want to initialize one collection which stores three different countries. Okay. So we know that whenever we want to initialize something on click of button, we will use on select property of that button. So we'll go to on select property of that button. Then instead of just false, we will use clear collect function. So this is a power fx function that we need to use to initialize the collection. And in the brackets, we will need to pass the existing or a new collection. So in this case, it's our new collection. So we will say call countries. So this is a standard naming convention. You can use anything, but as I explained you in the previous video, when you want to initialize a variable, go with var countries. When you want to initialize the collection, go with call countries. Then comma. Then you just need to keep passing the items. So if you see here, it is asking us to pass the items. Okay. So my first item is, let's say, India. Then my second item is US. And third item is UK. And just close the bracket. So I'm initializing this collection with three different countries. Okay. Now when you double click on this, you will get one small kind of a drop down. But in this drop down, you can see we don't have any data. And even if you go to collections, you see call countries, but you don't have any values inside that uh, collection. So let's initialize this collection by clicking on this button. Okay, the button is clicked, and now let's double click here, and in the drop down now you can see this collection call countries has three different countries. The same value we can view by clicking on the collections. So this is a place where you can see your different variables used in the applications, used in this application, different collections or variables that you have used in this application. So call countries has three values. Then instead of clear collect, you can use the collect method as well. So let me add one more button, and let me use collect function, and this is also same. So in this case we'll use call countries, but instead of call countries I will say call countries 1, and let's say I will say Germany and Spain. Okay, now if I click on this button and if I double click on call countries 1, you can see two countries, Germany and Spain is initialized, or this collection is initialized. But if you see, when I click on this button again, now here my collection is same, India, US, UK. But now when I click on this second button, and if you see by double clicking this, you can see Germany, Spain, Germany, Spain. So the difference between clear collect and collect is that collect will append the values to your collection, whereas clear collect will first clear the previous collection values and it will add the values again into the collection. Now, to give you the example where these collections can be used, so let's see some action or the actual use of collection. Let's add this in a gallery. In my previous video, which was related to basic controls in Power Apps, I have briefly explained you about gallery. Gallery basically shows you a collection of data in grid format. So let's add one gallery. So it will be a blank vertical gallery, and in this gallery just click on this pencil icon to add the label and minimize this template height. Move this to the here and minimize this. Now this gallery takes the items property as collection or some SharePoint list or your any data source. Okay. So let me explain you again. Gallery in Power Apps basically shows you repetitive data or the data that you want to show in grid format. So in this case, if I want to see the data that is stored in this call countries collection, I can use this collection as a data source to this gallery. So instead of this default custom gallery sample, I will say call countries. And in this collection, in this gallery, now you can see three values that we have in that collection. Similarly, let's copy this gallery by pressing Ctrl C and paste it. And now in the second gallery, instead of call countries, let's use call countries 1. And now you see this, this gallery shows the call countries 1. And whenever I click on this button, it keeps adding the records again and again because we have used a collect function here. If we click on this button, it's not going to add the records again and again because we have used ClearCollect function here. So I hope you understood about the difference between collect and ClearCollect and how we can initialize the collections. The next is add a new item to a collection. Now how we can add a new item to a collection? So if I want to add one more item in this collection, what can I do? So let me add one, let's say plus icon, and on click of this icon, if I want to add one more country in this collection, so on select of this icon, I will write a function collect, the same function. Now I will use the collection. So I want to add one more country in call countries. Which country I want to add? Let's say Spain. So when I click on this button, Spain should get added in this collection. And you see it got added. If I click on it again, it will again add the same country. But if I now click on this button, it will clear all these values and it will initialize only three countries like this. But if I add this one, it will add new country. So I hope you understood about how you can add a new item in a collection. Now let's say how we can remove the item from a collection. So let's say if I want to remove the India from this collection. So let me add one icon. Let's say I will add this icon trash. Okay. Now everything is about understanding PowerFX function. Once you become familiar with PowerFX function, it will be very easy for you to develop the application in Power Apps. So on click of this trash icon, that is on select event, I will use a function remove if. Now what is collection name? I want to remove item from call countries. Now the next parameter is condition. So what is condition? Where the value is equal to India. So let's see now. When I click on this delete icon, you see that India is deleted. But I want a feature where I should have one trash icon in front of each item. Okay. And on click of that icon, I want to remove this item. We can also do that. So click on gallery, click on this pencil icon and add one trash icon. So this will get added in front of each row. So this is the beauty of gallery. Gallery basically repeats the controls that you have added in that specific um, template. So we need to remove this item on click of this trash icon. Okay. So I will again go to on select property of that icon and here I will say remove call countries, and instead of now passing the condition, we can just use this item. So now here is a new concept that you might have seen here. If you want to remove something from a collection or from a gallery, you need to you will not get the this item context. You need to specifically pass the condition. But if you want to remove the item, you will have this item context. That means this gallery will understand that on which item the operation is getting performed. That's why you can write this item. So this item corresponds to each row of the gallery. So for this third trash icon, the this item is Spain. For fourth trash icon, the this item is this Spain. So let's try now. I'll click on UK and you see UK is gone. If I click on US, you can see US is gone. In this way, we can remove the item from collection with the help of remove if or remove function. You can also use the remove function outside this gallery. Only the condition would be different. In this case, you need to pass the item, actual item that you want to delete. So in this case, the item would be India. So here you need to use the lookup function. So lookup all countries where value is equal to India. So here this is a new concept. So lookup function is basically gets a particular item from that collection which matches with the provided condition. So here we are looking up the call countries collection where the value is equal to India, and we are removing this item from this collection. So you will get familiar with the lookup function once you start working on Power Apps or developing, or during our next videos we will use the lookup function very frequently. At that time I will try to explain you in detail about lookup function. So let's try now. Now we don't have any India country over here, so this delete button will not do anything. So let's clear the collection, and now let's click on this delete icon, and you see that India is now deleted. Now if I click on delete icon, it will not work because now our collection do not have India. In this way we can remove the item from a collection. Now let's see how we can clear the entire collection. So it's very simple. So I will use this trash icon itself, and I will use clear function. So clear, and just pass the collection name, clear countries. That's it. So clear is a PowerFX function. You just need to pass the name of the collection that you want to clear. So if I now click on this trash icon, you see that the collection is cleared. If I initialize it again and if I delete it again, I can do this. Initialize, delete, initialize, delete. Just add new country by clicking on add. In this way we can clear the collection as well. Now if I want to let's learn about how we can access the different elements of the collection. So let's learn about the first function. Okay, so first function is to read the first element or record of the collection. So now let's initialize the collection again. Now I have this collection. Now if I want to read, let me add Spain as well. Now if I want to read the first country from this collection, I can make use of first function. So I have some requirement where in this label I want to show the first country from this collection. So in this label I can use first function, then pass the source. So my source is call countries, and you need to use the dot function and its value. So you see that the first value is India from that collection. Let's learn about the last function. It will give me the last value of that collection. You see that it has written me the Spain. Let's learn about first n and last n function. So I have one requirement. Let's say, uh, let me use this gallery itself. I want to show only first two records from this collection in this gallery. So I can make use of first n function, then pass the collection which is called countries, and I want to show first two, two elements or two rows. So you can see now it has shown me India and US. Now I have a requirement where I want to show last two rows of the collection. I can just make use of last n function, and it has given me the output as UK and Spain. So this is just a very basic manipulation that we are doing on a collection. So in actual scenarios, this is a similar way where we will use the different operations on the collection to get our desired output. Then let me give you some more advanced details about collection. So far we have just initialized the collection by passing only the string values. Okay. But as I said, we can pass the objects as well. Okay. So for example, I want um, I want the country code as well. Okay. So what I can do, I can initialize it like this. Let's say code. Code is, let's say, +91, and country name is India. Okay. So this is one item. Okay. Initially we just passed string values, but now we are passing objects like the code. This object contains two properties, code and name. Okay. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Again paste it here. So this will be +1 is for US. Let's say +2 for UK. Okay. Now let's click on this item, and now you see that gallery is not showing any values. Why? Because that label, the value property is not available in our properties. We have only two properties, code and name. So either you need to use code or name here. So I will use code. Okay. If I want to show name as well, I can add one more label in this gallery, and here I will show the name. Okay. Now how I will know that what different properties my collection has? So just go to that collection, double click on that, and here you can see that code is there, name is there, and value is also there, but value does not have any values. Now why this value got initiated here? Because I used the same collection name which was initialized earlier, and it has retained the structure of that um, previous collection. So just ignore this. Let me add as all countries too, and I will initialize this, and in this gallery I will use call countries too. And now if you double click on this, you can see only two columns because this is the first time that we have initialized this collection. Now this delete button had some errors. Now this is a new concept. Whenever you see this red dot, you just need to click on edit in the formula bar. And here you see that we are trying to delete the other collection which is not part of this gallery inside this gallery. So which is incorrect. So you need to pass 2, and now the error is gone. And now we can perform the delete operation. So we can so the basic idea behind this explanation was that we cannot only store the numbers or strings inside a collection, but we can store the records. So this is a collection of records, and you see that this is basically the data type has now a table. So this is table. So as I said here, in Power Apps, array of objects is called as table of records. So here you can see its collections data type is table. So we have seen how we can add, remove or clear the collection, how we can access different elements of collection, how we can use the collection inside a gallery. So I'm going to explain you in details about what is gallery control in Power Apps in next session. But for this session, it was only about what is collection in Power Apps and how we can initialize them. Now let's see how we can initialize the collection on different events. So I will add one more screen, and screen has on visible property. Okay, so what does this on visible property is? So as I said in my previous session about basic controls in Power Apps, Each control has its own properties. Like the screen has a property called as onVisible, and this property will get triggered whenever you come to this screen from any other screen. For example, if I'm going to screen 1, the onVisible property of screen 1 is now triggered. But when I'm going from screen 1 to screen 2, the onVisible property of screen 2 will get triggered. So my requirement is that whenever I come to screen 2, the Spain country should get added in this collection. So what what we did earlier, so use the same formula, correct? And go to the screen, write in on visible property. So now my collection is uh, all countries too, and here I will say code as +5, country name is Spain, close the brackets. Okay, so what we did on visible of this screen too, I will every time add a Spain country in my call countries too. So let's see it in action. So I'm going to screen 1, and on this button I will write navigate. This function we have seen in our earlier video. Navigate function will move you to screen different screens. I want to move to screen 2, and I'll copy this button and I'll go to now. As soon as I click on this button, I will navigate to screen 2, and on visible event of that screen 2 will add a Spain country here. So I'm clicking on this button. Now it has triggered the on visible, and let me paste that button just to go back to screen 1, play this app. I'll go I'm going back, and you see that Spain is added. If I again go back to that screen and come back to previous screen, it has again added Spain. So in this way, every time you go to different screens, and if you have written some function on visible event, that function will get triggered. So this is a new concept that we have learned today. Um, yeah, so basically the collections can be manipulated using different triggers, like on select event of icon, or on select event of button, or on visible event of screen. Anywhere we can initialize or perform operations on collections. I hope it was enough for you for today, and I tried to cover as much as possible related to collections in Power Apps. In the next session, we are going to learn about gallery control in Power Apps. Till then, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. And thanks for watching. Have a nice day.